It's time for Geocache Talk. Whether you are at work, in the car, or wherever you are, we hope you enjoy this show about the great sport of geocaching. If you're watching live on YouTube, you can be part of the adventure tonight in the chat room and participate with others as they watch the show. If you are listening later, please give it a like and subscribe on your favorite podcasting app so that you can get all of the weekly Geocache Talk goodness.
All right. Big thanks to the Travel Bugs for the music and our featured patrons, the Dig family, JB Opto, NYJ Fan, Keeper of the Cash Flow, GeoVet91, Nitty Gritsky, E-Ray Bowl, Hoffer 15, H2SG2, Bember, and our new patrons, Kuhn and Bud, Motorima, Kimalisa. I saw Kimalisa's in the chat room there. Bloody Cool, Traveling Geek, Life is a Horse, pause, On a Boat, JR and Juju, Team G Winchester, Oil Bear 125, Boo Boo 1, Kitty Catch, Finlay and his Drudge, Seebeck Tribe. Seebeck Tribe had to pop in and then had to leave, but that's okay. Thank you for popping on for a moment tonight. Shark C, Curious KDB, Gene Hunter, The Caching Jeeper, and Fam Gustafson. God, I gotta get better.
You still messed up. You were practicing that before the show.
Gustafson. If you'd like to become a patron, head on over to patreon.com/Geocache Talk for more details. Patrons get the new blackout coin.
Look, I even have mine.
Yeah.
I got them this week. That's right.
Sweet. Makes a good noise too. When it's a big
solid coin.
It's a solid coin. Patrons get that. They get other geocaching items during the year, as well as bonus content, invites to special events. Obviously, we have a big special event going on right now for patrons. And somebody's way ahead, by the way. I don't know if you saw the leaderboard.
Oh my gosh, the leaderboard. Yeah, we're going to get to that in a minute, right?
We'll talk about it in a minute.
Yeah.
At that beta test only for patrons. Support level start at as little as Bison Tube level, which is $3 a month. Let me co-host my welcome. Let me welcome my co-host Jesse.
See, you're just messing up your words tonight because you're nervous because you're going to get embarrassed with all your wrong answers.
Oh yeah, right.
Tonight, so
I'm really.
It's okay.
I'm really concerned about you. Okay. I don't want to lose people watching the show because they're going to be like, "What? That's a terrible list." No, I'm kidding. They might say that about mine too. I don't know.
Well, we'll see.
Let's jump right into show 161 for August 18th. 162. See, even my notes are wrong. Golly, we are just not tracking tonight. My fault. It's my fault. That's on me. Show 162 for August 18th is we rank the geocache types. We rank them.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for sure. And I had some people this week who were like, "Why would you do that? Like, why not?"
Yeah, it's for fun, right? Obviously, it's not official. nor anything else. It's just fun and a good opinion, our opinions on them based on what we've done. So
if you would, can you move your mic a touch closer, just a little bit?
is it not picking up?
Just a little bit. Yeah, but try to get you all just a touch. See if you can kind of move it just a little bit. There you go. Now you're talking.
Like this?
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, be like that the whole night. That'll be perfect. That's good.
I don't think I will.
No, you're good. All
Okay.
right. Yeah, I've already Direwolf. I like that. Drinking. Yeah, I'm just drinking with my big mug, as Tara Viator says. Look at that big giant mug. It's my dad mug.
I got my special one tonight.
Yeah.
The show. Dad mug's pretty cool too, though.
Yeah, because I started from another show drinking early. Yep. Let's do some news.
Yeah, let's do an update on that. Well, you want to do the other one first?
Or
the leaderboard update first?
We can do leaderboard first, I guess. Let me actually let me get to that in a minute. Go ahead and talk about our patron brunch real fast, and then let me pull up the note. Let me pull up the leaderboard so I can show it. Yeah.
We're scheduling another patron brunch coming up. We always want to, give something back anytime we can for those that are making it to Going Caching. The details are coming out in the email, and there'll be a good meetup, and we'll have some fun, obviously. And have we announced where it is yet?
Yeah, only for the patrons. The patrons know.
Okay, so at a secret location. Yeah, we'll send coordinates. You got to find it from there, right? So we'll do a meetup. We did one when we were in Texas last time, and that was a lot of fun. Getting to see all the names that are in the chat room of the people that I got to go, and seeing all those faces, actual faces to go with the names. That was a lot of fun. So we're planning another one of those for Going Caching. More information will come out on that soon, but that should be a good little unofficial side event.
Yeah,
official event because
and it was tough trying to. I mean, we had to figure a way to fit it in, because Going Caching, I mean, for all of its positives, and there's plenty of positives, I'm sure there's not a whole lot of negatives, but one of the things is they stuff in everything
for the weekend for sure.
They do, and so they've got Sunday taken up, and Saturday, of course, taken up, and Friday, and Thursday, and Wednesday, and Tuesday, and all that. So we had to pick a time, and we picked a time right smack on top of one of their Sunday events. And it was like, well, there's not much we can really do about that. We just have to kind of, and some people are like, we're asking like, well, put it earlier. And then other people are like, no, make it later. So we kind of expanded the time. And again, it's a meet and greet. So just, if you're a patron, you pop in, don't expect, we're not putting on a big production for that one. We're just going to get together for a while. And so anyway.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
The chat room caught it. I muted myself. My dog was so excited about the show. He had to talk for a little bit. So
he wanted to get on there.
That's what that was about. No, I think it'll be fun. And yeah, that weekend is so packed. We're going to, we'll get together, the people that can. It'll be awesome. We had a lot of fun with the last one, so that'll be good. But we just wanted to mention that, and more information is coming out in the email for people who are possibly going to attend that one. So
yep. Especially another note as far as Going Caching, Jesse and I did get our cards finalized, so they're off to being printed. So we're excited about our first set of Going Caching cards to be given out during the event, and so we're looking forward to that. And it's, of course, we had to trick it up. It's a fun. We made a fun little card out of it, so I think people will enjoy the.
But we're not going to say anything about it and ruin any surprises, right?
No,
that's right.
Just that we tricked it up. That's all I want to say on that.
Okay, there you go.
All right, so let me show the
leaderboard. That is
leaderboard real quick, like. And of course, I wonder who's leading.
Yeah,
big time lead.
Yeah. Those who can't see, the Twonky's got over 25,000 points now, and somebody in the chat room said he's going to get that many on his return trip. That would be insane.
He's killing it.
But Eric, KPBR, is
Eric jumped up,
not slouching around. He's up to 13,000 already.
Yeah. Inspire Crew at 12. Owen from KC, he's in our chat room as well tonight. Twonky's in our chat room. He's Owen from KC's at 10, 10,370. So it's fun.
What's even more interesting than we expected, some of those.
Yeah,
like there's several people that are in the multiple thousands right now in the top 10. They're all many thousands, but a lot of people are really getting out there and
like Eric,
scores going up and up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
again. That doesn't help.
Twonky's promising that he's going to drop off a little bit next month. Well, yeah, he's got work to do. Probably.
Happy Hodag says they feel like small potatoes with only 630 points. Not if you're having fun with it.
No, yeah,
not everybody's going to get 50 million points like some people are. So,
it's just
so now that we've had it for a couple weeks now, I want to ask again. People send in to geocachetalk@gmail.com kind of what your thoughts are, how it's going, if it's changing any of what you're doing for strategy, or if you're just kind of seeing how it shows up, or what do you think about the whole thing? Let's don't wait till the very end. Start sending in your thoughts now, because we really need to collect a lot of good information for headquarters on this one.
Now that's dedication. Twonky said he turned down a job just so he could cash more this month. That's hardcore, buddy. It's hardcore.
Right, there you go.
Well, you can. I don't know if you guys saw the first episode of Straight Up Steve Austin, but it was really good. It comes on late on Monday night. It's like 11 p.m. Eastern, but if you can't see it, definitely DVR it because it's a lot of fun. Last week's was really cool with Riggle, Rob Riggle. He's an interesting character. And then and from what I went out there and I tried to find some reviews because I thought it'd be interesting. And there was really good reviews. So I was texting back and forth with Dave about that. So that was kind of fun to talk to him about. And, it's very cool. I'm glad he has had some success with that as well. So maybe they'll come back and get some more to do on that. So, Terra Viator says he has a list of solved puzzles. That's always handy. We are going to do a puzzle show pretty soon with Electric Water Boy down the road, not too long. We got some cool shows, I think, coming up. I always kind of say that, but we've got some unique things coming up that I'm really excited about. We'll talk about obviously the next 3 toward the end of the show, but
you wouldn't book them if you didn't think they were cool shows. So.
No, I turned down a lot of stuff that's like, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. So we make sure it's high quality for everybody. We're very committed to that. We don't just throw a show together and call it a day. Or
kind of moving through the news, because we could easily have fun with this leaderboard all night. But I want to say, people keep sending in information, right? Let's don't wait till the end. Send in your thoughts on it, because it's a big opportunity for us to really shape some opinions for headquarters before it comes out to everybody else. But and then the store is still up. It's still going well. People are
definitely get out there if you want. We have limited. We're not going to really buy much more inventory. We may eventually get another shirt, but we probably won't do that shirt again. That's for another shows. I don't know if we'll ever get any more of these.
Yeah, we're not going to be on. We're going to have a few things, but only the things that people want us to have.
Yeah, we're not carrying a lot of inventory for things. Well. Yeah, and then of course the GC World Game is up again.
Not Gary's marked copy though. Remember, don't get that one.
Don't get the marked copy.
He pulls that one out to play. Don't bet money.
Copy. Don't definitely don't play with that copy. That's a marked deck. But
and then you had another show scheduled. Are you going to mention that now or at the end?
Let me mention that. Let me. Again, I won't get into it, but I do want to mention this because it comes up sometimes, and I do want to note it. because whenever we do a Cachely show, people are like, "Oh God, I'm tuning out. I don't have iOS. I'm tuning out of Cachely." Hang on, be there, be with us for the Cachely show, even if you don't have iOS, because there's always cool stuff we talk about, and there's always something we can learn from the other apps that we don't use. And with that, I want to mention that we are going to do a CGO show. Our first CGO show. We did a GC Droid show. We're going to do a CGO show. We're going to highlight Android for a night. All of us that are iOS, just hang in there. We can learn something from the CGO folks. So,
and we every time we've covered something like that, and we're both Cachely people, we get good information out of it. So
yeah,
I like it. Just some strategies and everything else.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, we got some cool stuff coming up. All right, are we ready to get into this? Are you ready for this?
Well, more that I was going to bring up. So
yeah, go ahead.
I didn't put the GC in there, but we found this cache this weekend. We were out, International Geocaching Day. Let's see. There's my souvenir.
Sweet.
Had to get that.
Hang on. Put it back up there. Let's see it again.
Okay.
There you are.
Yay! Yeah. So
I like
the souvenir we got. I saw a lot of that on social media. A lot of people went out and got them this weekend.
Yeah.
Now, so we found this cache, and I kind of wanted to bring it up because I want to see your thoughts and other people's thoughts too. So it was in the area, and it was kind of a standard cache. But then you get to the cache, and inside it said, "Just for fun, if you want to go find a bonus cache, go to these coordinates." So this is one that's totally not listed on geocaching.
Oh, okay.
And you go and you find it, and it was a pretty neat one. It was hidden out in plain sight, but it really matched the environment really well.
Okay.
And we'd seen it earlier and kind of made comments on it or whatever, thinking, that would be a great place for a cache. But they would have to give you the code somehow. Well, the code was hidden in the hint for the original cache.
Oh, neat.
So it was kind of weird. So it was a cache that doesn't count for anything, but it was just kind of like a bonus add-on to the end of the cache. Like you don't get an extra smiley for it. It's not listed somewhere else. It was just extra fun, and it took you to a really cool place that for some reason is not listed, probably because there's a cache too close or they couldn't have one there. But it was just a total bonus cache. It only counted as traditional, but I thought it was really neat, and we did. I don't know if, very often people would go for a cache that doesn't count, but it was a pretty neat add-on. So I didn't put the GC because I don't know, I don't know if it's actually technically listed anywhere. I don't see that it's a violation of the rules. It seems like just a lot of fun, but it was fun to do anyway. I don't know if you've ever found one like that.
I'm trying to think. I can't think of one off the top of my head. Gas Station Tuna mentioned there's a Harry Potter cache around me that does that. I like it. I mean, I know some people, some of the purists would be like, well, I don't get credit for it, so why would I'm doing it?
And I can see that, if you're in a hurry. But it was a fun add-on, and we weren't in any hurry for the day or anything, and we were just out there playing and having fun. And it was pretty neat, So I don't know. I thought it was a pretty neat thing that they did. So
yeah, I like it. No, I think that's cool. There was I don't think it was listed anywhere. Well, it might have been listed on the cache thing. Have you ever seen the kind that sort of make a game within the game? We found a cache one time, and I think it might have been listed in the description, but we didn't really notice it because we don't read the descriptions.
Right.
But it was like it was the GC name on it was like Candlestick or something.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, okay, probably related. Probably a fan of Clue. When you get there, it gave you sort of a explanation as to that. Okay, now you need to go find all the other weapons, in the game Clue. And so then you look around the map, and there were some other ones too. We just didn't have time that day to do that. That one was sort of a bonus cache for us because we had to run by auto part store to get some oil for the car. This is a while back. And so we just found a cache in the parking lot, but those are kind of cool. I agree. I like the idea of bonus caches, Bonus caches isn't on our list tonight,
well,
but
what I talked about wasn't actually a bonus cache.
Right.
That's true. A different thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's different.
But that's a perfect segue into the show tonight. So we picked 12 to go over as we go over the show. Bonus cache is not on there. There's a lot of things that aren't on there. There's like gadget cache is not there because not a type, whatever, anything could be a gadget cache, right?
Yeah.
The categories could be a gadget cache. So as we get into it, that's kind of a quick disclaimer that out of the 12 we picked, we ranked the 12 that we picked because you could say there's tons of them, right? I mean, you could break events down into 4 different categories or whatever.
Oh, absolutely. You could break it down a lot further, but we kind of stuck with 12. I was originally going to do 10, and then it really fit to do 12. Most of them are just standard cache types. We have a few subtypes, but we're gonna do 12, and we'll see where the chips fall. So
I highly suspect that many people will not agree with at least one of us. They can't agree with both of us.
No,
because we don't agree.
I don't think we agree on. I don't know. I haven't looked.
I don't know if we have any that are the same.
I don't think we agree on any of them, but that's okay.
You know what?
We kind of have our reason.
It's okay.
Yeah. So we're going to kind of talk about why we got to where we got to where we got to, that kind of thing. So you ready to start with the top 12?
Let's do it.
Number 12.
All right. I like it.
For number 12? You like my little thing?
I do. I like the 12.
Number 12.
So
you're going to keep doing that all night tonight, aren't you?
I am going to do that because I made them and I'm going to use them. By golly, I'm going to let you
go first.
So whoever starts is going to get to go. Like in your case, you're going to do 1, then I'm going to do 2, and then I'm going to do 2 of them, and then you're going to do 2 and 2. We'll go back and forth 2 at a time.
Okay. So you want to start, or you want me to start?
I'll start, and then you'll do your number 12 and your number 11, and then I'll come back and I'll do my 11 and my 10, and we'll kind of work our way through it.
Yeah, it works. We'll probably, but that's okay.
We'll figure it out as we go a little bit. All right. So my number 12 is Letterbox Hybrid.
Should we, before we go into, should we tell them all the ones first that we're going to use as the categories? Or
yeah, let me see if I can grab the list.
I think you've got it up top. And that's neither one of our orders. At the top, you've got them all listed down.
Do I?
Yeah.
But I don't know if I can cut and paste that properly. Oh, yeah, I can. Never mind. I can. Hold on. All right. Let's see if I can put this in the chat. Or not in the chat, but as a banner. I can put it in the chat room, too.
All kinds of stuff, yeah.
Let me see if I can put it in the chat. I put it in the chat room first.
There you go. That's the one we're looking at. So where traditional multi-cache, mystery/puzzle, letterbox, adventure labs, webcams, virtuals, challenge caches, augmented reality caches, event caches, and earth caches.
Yeah.
Yes, those can be, there's other stuff, but this is the main ones that we're talking about right now. So,
yeah.
There we go. Okay. So you said number 12.
Yeah. My number 12 is Letterbox Hybrid, and I'll kind of explain. And as we go through this, we'll explain why we kind of picked them the way we did. So the reason I put Letterbox Hybrid number 12, a couple reasons. One is, I personally have not found a lot of, in fact, I don't think I found a single great Letterbox Hybrid. The greatest Letterbox Hybrid I think I ever found was at Moga, and the only reason I say that's because we were doing to see how many cache types we get in one day.
Mm-hmm.
We ended up with 12, and so that was one of them that we found that day. So of course I liked it because it was one of them we found. We needed a Letterbox Hybrid to add to the list, and
so while we're going through, how many of those have you found over the years?
4 or 5 probably. There's none around here, and I've only found one, or I've only made one, and it's been a pain in the behind to keep that thing going properly. And I mean, yeah, I think Christie's was made a good point. Letterbox was always a letdown for me. I don't find them.
So just so anybody knows ahead of time, Christy, the CFO, does not agree with any of my picks. So you've already seen them ahead of time.
She and I agree on that one a little bit, but
Here and Gary are both tonight. But
so now I did find something interesting. I do want to point out, and we don't spend a lot of time on this one, but did you know you can do a Where I Go letterbox hybrid?
It's still a Where I Go though.
It's still yeah. Well,
you can't combine those two and try. Got a Where I Go in it. It's a Where I Go because you can combine other things, but Where I Go trumps it.
Yeah. So anyway, it makes now and again, I love finding them if I ever found one, but I don't find them very often, and I'm not a, and they're not really truly letterboxes. Remember that they're letterbox hybrids, so they don't have to. And correct me if I'm wrong, but they don't have to have anything that's letterbox related. It doesn't have to be set up like a letterbox.
So, well, I'm going to get into that in my
get into yours in a minute. Go ahead, do your number 12.
There's some other things about letterbox that are coming up too that close. So I ranked it higher, obviously letterboxes, but I'll get to that later. It's not there yet.
Yeah.
My number 12, nobody is surprised about. So my number 12,
what that is.
Yeah, big drum roll, Earth Cache. I'm sorry, but I found them, and I'm coming up on 100 Earth Cache finds, but definitely one of my lowest finds so far is Earth Caches. I'm in the 90s now, but the big reason that actually my 12, 11, and my bottom ones, they have a theme of why they're the bottom for me, because you're not finding anything. So in a game where you find stuff, the ones where you don't find stuff are going to rank a lot lower for me.
Sure.
Because that's what I like about it, right? I like the finding of the object and surprise, that moment,
Yeah.
I got it. And
wait, you ready for your next one?
Yeah.
Number 11.
All right, so number 11. This is the one that's people are not gonna like as much, but sorry, virtuals. That's my number 11 for the same reason, right? You're not finding anything. You're getting information, but the whole point for me, one of the biggest things for me is actually finding the cache. And I will say that virtuals are rare, and so that makes them kind of cool, but it could also be a regular cache too. You could find information and still find something.
Sure.
So for me personally, they're way lower on my list, even though I do get virtuals. Now, having said that, I find everything on this list that we're talking about tonight. I found hundreds of many of them that are not ranked very high and thousands of others. And I like finding all of them, but my least favorite are the ones where you don't find anything.
Sure. Makes sense.
So, and some of the coolest adventures I've been on actually were tied to virtuals, but they could have been something else too. So,
right. No, I hear you.
I've also been to several that's just read something off of a sign and write. And then to an account that has been dead for 4 years.
Right.
And, is what it is. For me, number 12, Earth Cache, number 11, virtual.
Yeah. So. Funny. Well, I'll talk about virtuals is obviously a different area for mine. My number 11 is AR caches, and I'll kind of explain why. Number one, I've never found an AR cache. I've made one, but I've never found an AR cache.
So in theory, you have limited experience, really. So I guess you.
Yeah, that's bad.
Hello.
Yeah, I've never found one, so it's kind of why it's on my number 11 of my list. Makes sense, right? I don't have no experience with them, so I have no idea if they're any good or not. And I kind of wonder. I'm a little concerned whether. I mean, are they going to be around? Is this something that the GC is going to? Are they going to embrace it? I think they're kind of. It seems like. I don't know. I think they're still kind of. I think it's almost like the moratorium on challenge caches went on for quite a while because I think they were like, "What are we going to do?" And of course, they came up with a solution. So I don't know. Maybe they'll come up with a solution for AR caches that fits. I know that HP Reveals had issues.
Mm-hmm.
We built ours not using HP reveal, and so I don't know. I want to try to go find some and see. I'll see where it fits on my list as we go along. So,
well, if you come visit me, I've got 3 in town.
Yeah, I know. But how many have you found? That's the key. I guess we'll get to your ARs here in a little bit.
Very few that I had nothing to do with.
Okay.
So,
all right. Let's move on to number 10.
Number 10.
All right. My number 10 is. What is my number 10? My number 10 is mystery/puzzle. And I know Dr. Waterboy is going to freak out when he sees that I did that. Oh my gosh. What are you doing?
There are people that are really obsessed with those things. Now, see, you mess people up now.
I know I did. I messed them up. So here's my explanation of why it's number 10 on my list. They're always hit or miss. They're never consistently good or bad or anything, but that's okay. Some puzzles are good, and I'm really referring more to puzzles. Mysteries, I mean, it's a real catch-all.
Yeah, that's kind of whatever else people come up with.
I kind of focused on the puzzle aspect of mystery/puzzle. Some puzzles are good. Some I can't figure out. Some I've enjoyed. Some they were
barely anybody is agreeing with us so far. Just so you know.
Yeah, nobody agrees with us. That's okay. That's why it's our list, not your list. And
I'd love when we get to the end of this, I would love to hear everybody's reaction to let us.
Curious Girl says that she found the puzzle part is good. The cache itself, the cache itself tends to be a lamppost skirt a lot of the time. I mean, some of the time. So,
having said that, while they're all different, we're talking about the typical experience, right? Yeah. So there are some that are amazing at the end too, but that's not typically what you see. I would have to agree with her on that.
Tom's all puzzles are good. Some puzzles are better than others. Yeah, I understand. But puzzle caches, meh. So what's your number 10?
Christy's telling on me in the chat room big time.
That's good.
First of all, she said that I put the answer to the puzzle in white HTML text. That's not true. I only do that on Earth caches.
Or white text. Something weird like that. Not cool, she says.
Some check. You're checking to make sure you got it right. I mean, not you shouldn't be that on Earth cache. Come on. Okay, so let me give you my number 10, and I don't know how this is going to be received, but
we're gonna get
number 10, and I almost made it even lower than that, is webcams. So again, the bottom 3, you're not finding anything. Those for me had to be in the bottom 3.
Yeah.
The only reason, and the last experiences I've had with webcams, most of them are broken. And that's frustrating. That's really frustrating because the only reason I even go for them is they're so rare.
Yeah.
Going away from resource, even though they're not my favorite cache type, I immediately put them at the top of the list because we're almost down to 100 just in the United States. So I go for them a lot, but they often don't work. The rarity is why I ranked them at 10 and not 12. Because 2 out of the last 3 that I found were not working properly.
Right.
And the owner's gone.
Right.
So it's just waiting to be gone, right? I mean,
yeah.
So there's this weird thing like the Twonky got in where he gets one archived, right? I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to get one archived. But I'm going to try to find everyone that, I get near.
Yeah.
But I don't usually get much fun out of them. Every once in a while, one is neat, but to me, again, you're still not finding anything. So those bottom 3 were immediate for me because there's nothing to find.
Right. Right. There's no tradition, or there's no actual physical container.
Right.
Makes sense. I'll kind of explain why some of yours are down the line on mine, but
we'll get there.
You ready for the next one?
Mm-hmm.
Number 9.
All right. So this,
You're number 9. Number 9.
Yeah, I'm ready. I've got traditional at number 9, and here's why.
That's it. Wait, let me drop you out of here. Let me
get a chance to explain. So
hang on. Nope, I'm muting you. That's it. You're out. All right, I'm doing the show now from now on by myself. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Okay, so here's why traditional is number 9. Not because it's bad, because this and everything above it are kind of building on traditionals.
True.
So this is the level. This is the most basic level of finding something. So again, traditionals is not bad. That's the most of what we find, right? That's the most of what's out there. But traditional is the most basic geocache you can find. It goes up from there.
Hit the eject button. I did. I muted him. What are you talking about now?
Again, not negative, but it's the most basic. Everything else is an add-on to that. Because we're not including really gadget caches in this, because when we talked about it, gadget caches can be in any category. They could be the final of anything, right? So we're just talking about the typical experience.
Yeah.
From here up, it's traditional and building on that. So I've got traditional as number 9.
Wow. There's
a theory to all mine. And I'll get to when I get to the end, I got a whole theory of mine. So
yeah, you've got some clamoring. You got some loud
what's your number 9 then?
Loud screaming and hollering. My number 9 is
and yeah, they're zooming in the chat room, and I am not able to keep up hardly at all.
I know.
We're making everything mad now.
My number 9 is Earth Cache. And it's very similar to your you had Earth Cache 12. I had it at 9. So, and it's very similar to your explanation as to Earth caches. There's so few. Number one, there's so few of them anywhere near us. I know you got more near you, but I mean, I got to drive nowadays. I have to drive 2 hours to get to an Earth cache. So it's not something that's prevalent in my area. And I also think of it too from a cacher, from a hider's perspective, because I really focus a lot on hiding caches. And man, you talk about a beating is to get an Earth cache. I've tried 2 or 3 times to get an Earth cache published, and we don't do that anymore. We don't use that. We don't do this. We don't do that. It's like, well, you know what? We're not teaching geology if we're constantly denying people the opportunity to learn about geology. Earth caches, they're too limiting. And usually the majority of them, not all of them. I know some of yours that you've built are not like this, but
mine are terrible. What are you talking about?
But a lot of them, you drive, like you said, you drive up, you read a sign. Not always, but you go up, you read a sign, you take a picture of it, and you go back later and you log it, and you're like, okay, I logged it. Boy, that was a lot of fun. They do take you though to some cool places. So I do want to. That's why it wasn't number 12 on my list. Is Earth caches will lead you some of the time to cool locations. So that's why I moved it down the list a little ways. So
I got 2 things to say. One is kind of going back. Julie proved my point for number 9.
Right.
For traditional, she said they're only worth 10 points in the leaderboard. So now
it's not about the points.
For Earth caches, that was kind of the same thinking, right? Is that there are some that are amazing. So with all of these cache sites we're talking about tonight, there are some that are amazing. I've got one that I've got my eye on that's nearby here, that's in Rocky Mountain National Park, the True 5.5. I'm excited to go do it, but you got to do it during a certain time of the year, and you take a group and you go do it. But that's not your normal, right? And still, we're not finding anything. We just hike up to the top and have geology class, which is cool, but it's just different. But to your other thing you're talking about, and then we'll get back on it. It's hard to publish them, so we haven't announced it yet. But there will be something coming out that we're going to shoot out to the patrons coming up. A little boost or help, just behind the scenes of how to get some published, just because we've worked on that a little bit. So that'll be later on. We'll get to that towards the end of the leaderboard, and people can get some published. But I just want to say, since you mentioned that, I'd bring that up. But some people do struggle through that. So
no, we definitely want to. Yeah, Charles is beating me up about the fact I wasn't in your Earth class. Yes, I know, Charles. You need to do it again sometime.
Good. Spread that information. We love those breakout sessions. Anytime you can help somebody spread that information. Yeah,
this is interesting. This is really for another show about Happy Hodag says gives Earth caches, virtuals, and where I go as a favorite point. They tend to be fairly rare. I mean, but interesting. All right.
Okay. Your turn. Number 8.
We're moving on to
Number 8.
number 8. So my number 8 is Where I Go.
Oh. Can I mute you? I don't think I can.
Let me mute myself here. Let me go ahead. So I'll just keep talking. And oh, look, I made myself solo. I like this. So let me tell you the problem with Where I Go. Let me tell you why they should not have Where I Goes ever. No, I'm kidding. Let me go back. Where I Goes, and I think we've had this talk before, and that is and I know you'll agree with this part of it. If you don't do it right, or if you're a lousy cache owner, or if you're a lazy cache owner, or fill in the blank cache owner, and you don't take care of your Where I Go, you got people showing up and they are trying to do your Where I Go. And there was one case in particular where, I don't know, we spent an hour. I think it was at least an hour, and we get toward I thought we were sort of toward the end of the Where I Go, and it doesn't work anymore. I mean, the app still works,
right?
But the guy who you get to a certain area and you're supposed to answer question. I think it was just we got to the right location. No, let's see. I know what it was. We got to what we thought was the correct zone.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what we did, that zone would not work.
So I don't want to get into my defense of Where It Goes yet, because obviously they haven't made it onto the list yet, because we haven't got to a rank high enough befitting them yet.
Yes, I understand. But
your statement that you just made applies to every cache type.
No, that's true. No, I agree. But
I'm just saying, that's not going to do it. That applies to every single one of them on the.
Yeah, my experience has been, and again, I'm in an area where I think a lot of Where I Goes are not really very well done. Now, you and I did one. It wasn't bad. In fact, I probably needed. Lord knows I needed the steps, but we had no idea how long that Where I Go was going to be.
Right.
I mean, it was an early on one. Had a lot of favorite points, so we went and did it together. One over in Arlington, Texas, but it was like back and forth, and I'm thinking, is this Where I Go ever going to end with a traditional spot? Fortunately, we did find the cache at the end, but it was like, can you not tell people how many? Now, and I've had good experience. I will say that we have found, a good, but it's been real hit and miss. I mean, I've had good experience. We found the reverse one from Moga we had to find we found a Where I Go for the 12 cache types, and Slinky Mama loved that one. It's the one I've told you about, and it's one of my favorite type of Where I Goes, which is the reverse Where I Go. I know you're like, whatever, it's not that great. I like reverse Where I Goes because there's a real,
but that's okay. We'll get to that later.
Yeah. So that's my explanation as to why, Where I Goes can be kind of
pretty legitimate reasons, I'd say.
All right. Your number 8.
So
what's your number 8?
So you just pretty much made the argument for my number 8.
Okay.
Which is multi-cache.
Okay.
So they can be good. And I've done a couple that are good.
Right.
However, bad cache owners that don't maintain their caches, and just some of them are often missing. Like it's a 4-stage. Maybe you don't know how long it is because they don't say.
Right.
A pretty typical experience. And you get through stage 3, you go exactly where stage 4 is supposed to be, of maybe a 6-stage multi, and it's missing. So now it's broken, and the owner may or may not answer you. You can't do it in the field. So it's a DNF after what would have been 4 caches. Right. I've probably tried more multis than I've found.
Oh, that's not good.
They're broken very often. They're often broken, right?
They can be.
Now,
they can be.
Good ones. The reason why multis are one of the most frustrating cache types for me. However, the reason why I ranked it kind of high is it is an extra step, and when they're done right, it does add something onto that traditional cache, right? it's a whole nother step. So it's adding something to it. And when they're done right, they're really neat. We've done some of the choose your own adventure ones.
Yep.
You get there and you read a story and you have to decide which way to go from there. And both of them lead you to another stage.
Sure.
You know which one's right. Now that's a blast. You can't do that with a traditional. So that's a blast that you have the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
Plus, Intercache is included in multicache.
Oh, is it really? I didn't realize that.
But
not Mobcache, because that's a different.
Well, Mobcache is different. Intercache is it's similar to Where I Go. It's a real watered down version. You can do some online stuff to go with it, and you can add a little video and stuff like that with it too. Not a lot of people do them because they take a little programming, but those are really neat.
Yeah.
You can have video and pictures and stuff like that, but it can only be done online. So you have to have the online component, so it's not an in the mountains thing. But so it includes Intercache, multicaches, if done right, are good. Mm-hmm. So that's why I put them right above traditional.
Yeah, it's funny. We came real close. We'll find out here in a minute, but we almost completely agreed on a multicache. So we're in the same ballpark when it comes to multicache. So, all right. So let me hit the thing for the next one down for you. And where is my little doodad? There it is.
Number 7.
That's Pistol Pete. Number 7, Pistol Pete. I gotta play that one again.
Number 7.
All right. What's your number 7?
So, mystery or puzzle is my number 7.
Okay. We're close.
Yeah, not too far away. Yeah. Reason why it's lower down, but still above traditional. So traditional is your basic. Then multi is adding a step onto it and can be good, but often frustrating. Puzzles are a step above that. More often, we complete puzzles than we complete mysteries because they're usually all put together. Sometimes they're multi-stages, sometimes they're not. But you usually, if you can solve one, you can generally find it. You know, it's that kind of deal. And it does include mob caches, which I think is a neat add-on to it. Mm-hmm. I put a few of those out there. And we've played around with a few of those. And you have to gather people together, which is always fun when you have to cache for more than one person, right? And puzzles can be so many things. The reason why I've got them down a little lower is because a lot of them are just frustrating, right? Like, what's something that I've never heard of before, and you got to figure that out, and it'll never be that interesting to me, but a lot of the other ones are. So it's such a broad category. You can always find ones you want,
right?
But definitely a good chunk of them that don't interest me as much. I don't want to sit around all the time doing puzzles, although I really like a good puzzle.
Yeah.
A good puzzle, I just mean one that interests me, right?
Yeah.
So
no, I understand.
their own interest, but the ones that I like, a good puzzle like that, I'll solve puzzles. Also, sometimes when I'm not caching or whatever, if I have an opportunity, I'll solve puzzles randomly anywhere that I'll never have a chance to go do, just because it's really neat to do the puzzles.
Yeah. Makes sense.
The only other reason I put it kind of lower, it's lower on the scale. Like, I still like it a lot, but it's lower.
Yeah.
A lot of times people don't follow through. They'll make a really good puzzle, and the final is not very special. They put all the effort into the puzzle, but not the final cache. So it kind of brings it back down a little bit for me.
Yeah. It's interesting, Tara Vieters mentioned, about puzzle solving is great for a rainy day.
Yeah.
Owen mentioned about solve puzzles a lot in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense. You can't get out and maybe do some caching. You could kind of start to solve some puzzles. I understand. So, all right. So my number 7 is multicache. So we're almost.
Okay.
So my multicache was 7. Your multicache was 10. No, what was your multicache?
8. You're 8.
8. So we're really close. 7 and 8. Yeah. So
yeah. Those are almost interchangeable though, right? But
yeah.
Go ahead and put mystery but multi, but go ahead.
Yeah. So again, I have had mixed. I've had some really good multicaches that I've found. I've put out multicaches, and I always maintain all the steps. I kind of like Tara Vieters. I try not to do too many steps because again, it's a lot to do, and in this area, it could be a long time before somebody finds a. I can't find find people to grab traditionals in my area, let alone do a multi-cache. Those stages will sit dormant.
How many put out multi-caches?
What's that?
How many have you put out multi-caches?
Oh gosh, I'd have to go look, but probably half a dozen.
Okay,
so
that's good because I know you focus on putting out caches a lot. So
I do, but I really geocaching around here. I try to at least get people to come out and do something. Do a traditional. I put out some caches this week. In fact, put out an ammo can. How about that? Don't see an ammo can very often.
There you go.
Put out an ammo can. I bolted that thing to the tree, but it's going to be not bolted. Or I used a lock and all that to keep it there because it's out at our Cotton Museum. I talked to the people at the Cotton Museum, and they were fully on board with it. And so, it's at a World War.
Way. Not everybody necessarily does that, right?
Yeah.
Who needs permission?
I did one that I really liked, multi-cache, where the stages were all virtual.
Mm-hmm.
I like those kind because they're kind of fun. Plus, I can't really. I mean, they can kind of last longer because the virtual location. So I had one of those. I've told you about this one before. It was a north, south, east, west lock, and so it was an ammo can with a north, south, east, west lock on it, and I basically took them around town to locations where, and you obviously do them in order, but it's like North Texas Title or something, and so north was the clue, East Gate Apartments or whatever it happened to be, and so I gave them the clues, and the clues were in the order that you had to open the lock with. So that was why I did that.
Like it.
Something took some, and I wish people would take some time, and I know people do. There's some cool ones in the DFW area. And again, it's not number 12 on my list. It's number 7. So
none of these are negative, right? These are just how we rank them. And we were both close on 7 and 8. So all right. So what's your number 6?
All right. We got to play my little tune thing.
Number 6.
Number 6 for me is virtual. So it is kind of above. Obviously, it's more than yours. So my 6 is virtual. Again, maybe the rarity of a virtual. Maybe in my case, I think this might actually work to its benefit a little bit. And we've been lucky. We found a lot of good virtuals. And so maybe that's why I have good feelings about it. Therefore, it was fairly high. I mean, it was number 6 on my list. So that's not, that's not too bad.
That's
to have on.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah. And so it's the, now it's, I've not been lucky enough to put one out. I've been awarded one, but I have found some really good. Now I found you and I found one of the worst virtuals I think we've ever found.
I found a few like that.
Yep. When you came down we went to Tyler, let's go do this virtual, and we get over there and it's like this thing should have been probably archived, but we get over there and it's like the virtual is kind of gone. The owner kind of mishmashed it together and kind of said, go to this little. Remember that we were driving on the side of the road.
But you know what? There's several of the old virtuals out there where the owner is no longer even active, so there's nothing to find or send your answers to.
Right.
That's the best of circumstances. That's armchair logging.
Yeah.
Right?
All right. What's your number 6?
So my number 6 is Letterbox.
Okay.
And the reason why I have that is if done right, the way they're actually supposed to be done, they can be really cool. Now, I've put out several letterboxes, not under my account, but like with groups for events and stuff like that. We've hidden a bunch of them.
Sure.
I don't think I've hidden that many myself. 3, just me alone. But I've hidden a bunch with other people, and done some really neat ones. And the reason why I ranked it so high is because a lot of times when you find letterboxes, they're just a stamp in a container, right? They're nothing but a traditional with a stamp, and they can be. Somebody mentioned they couldn't be micros, but they can be. I've actually seen ones that are inside a little. What are the little Altoid tins?
Yeah.
There's a little micro stamp in there. It's crazy small. It meets all the technical definitions of it. But with letterboxes, and they're a letterbox hybrid, and we actually found an actual letterbox this weekend.
Oh wow!
On accident. It was a Geocache, and we found on accident it was as a letterbox. It wasn't a letterbox.
I've done that before. Find one by mistake.
But the idea for a letterbox hybrid, if done creatively and not just stick a stamp in one, is that you start at a location and you give clues then to take the steps to where it is. It's still direction based, like walk north and then turn right, 300 feet. And
that's
fun. And
traditional.
The I've seen of that is this guy locally did one, and he told a whole story. And it was like, I remember the exact setting, but it was like, knights and dragons and stuff.
Yeah.
And it said, you start at this location. So the coordinates started you there, and it said, go to, you see the big white pearly gates in the middle of a big field that were left behind by, the big story, which was a soccer goal. That's what it actually was. And it turned to see the soldiers holding their wooden staves. And that was actually the fence that you were turning to. So there's a whole story, and you directed your whole adventure based on clues and directions.
Right.
It was coordinate based after you got there. And that's super fun. That adds a little something extra to it. And there's a stamp in there. And if you do it right, we carried for a long time. We carried around a book, and we get those stamps and we stamp our book. So that's the letterbox hybrid part, because that's from the letterbox game.
Right.
And me and the little one loved that. We had our own little books, and we'd stamp them. We had our own stamps, and we'd stamp it in there. We got a custom stamp done. If you do the parts of a letterbox and the owner does the parts of a letterbox, they're a super fun type. However, I would have ranked it higher if they all were like that. But it's very rare to see them like that. So that's why, for me, it just comes in at number 6. If they all were required to do that much of creativity with it, and everybody did the book, and it would rank much higher for me. But for right now, I can't rank them any higher from 6, because most of them are not like that.
Yes. All right. Here you go.
Number 5.
What's your number 5?
I ranked it a lot higher than you did.
Okay.
I'm putting augmented reality caches there.
Oh, your AR? Okay.
Yeah, and this was a gamble, but they are fun. So I've done a couple. I've helped build. They're not hard to build, so that's a good plus for them. But they really can do a lot of stuff. So the one that was at Woodstock recently, you did that one, right? We didn't do it together, though, did we?
Which one?
When we were just down in Texas, the one that they had right there on the grounds.
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't get to do that one.
So that Geocache, I did it with I did it with my buddy. That day I was with my buddy that day.
Right.
You had to like look around. They used the viewfinder thing in there, and you had to look around and solve a puzzle based on this picture. I thought it was just a really neat application. And it helped really to work in 2-man teams to do this thing, because you had to write down notes. And but it was, I think the possibilities and the future of geocaching is bringing in some of those elements.
Right.
People like more of that tech stuff, right? And you're still finding a cache.
Yeah, I see that.
That's one of mine. So I've got 3 here in town. One of them we hid that first day, right? You called me and go, hey, there's a new AR thing. Let's go hide one immediately and be the first to get them.
Yeah, we did.
We hid one. Then we went and I hid one next after that. That was a, you have to take your picture. So it's like a webcam.
Yep.
That was fun. Then we did one that was a hard puzzles and all kinds of stuff. And you had to climb a tree at the end of it. And so there, we did just to do the range of them.
You get a
have a wide range, and you can add videos and photos and pictures, and they have a lot of possibilities. Now, the negative about it you can't do them right now. So you can go find them right now.
Yep.
But you know they're probably going to be out again. They're just evaluating how to do that app. So I think they have a huge amount of promise and can be a whole lot of fun, but they're just stalled right now. So I can't rank them any higher, even though they're very exciting right now.
True.
And I see them as being part of the future of it. They're on hiatus right now, so you can't get them. So that's why I've got them so high, but not higher than that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was fun. I enjoyed making, and I put one together as fast as I could because I want to be first in Texas, and mine is first in Texas, and yours is first in Colorado. I did mine with a video. So you get to the location, you play a video. In the video are the final chords, and you go find it. So, and what's interesting is that I had a lot of people find it quickly, like in the first couple months. And I don't think anybody's found it in months now. I mean, it's just, I think maybe if when it comes back, like you said, maybe there might be some more interest. Well, we talked about the whole, that whole one we talked about with Josh Boggs, the eastbound and down, baby. We had to drive all the way to Texarkana and, and do the whole, it was half metaverse, half HP reveal. I think it's disabled right now. I don't even think you can do it. And I don't know if it'll ever come back, but what a cool experience that he had to drive all the way, and the way they did it so that you weren't sure where you were going to get your next clue. So you couldn't fake it. You couldn't just
right.
So, I mean, I agree. There's
pretty exciting.
It could be, or it could be a complete flop and we never see it again. All right.
They all can.
Move on.
Okay.
So let's see. We're up to your next
number 4.
And your number 5 yet?
Oh, I didn't do my number 5.
No, I think you're trying.
Number 5.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't do my number 5. You're right. My number 5 is Adventure Lab, and Adventure Lab came in, I don't know, pretty high for me. Number 5 out of 12.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what my thought was and why I put it where I put it. I've had such great experience with Adventure Lab, and you're going to start seeing something. You remember how you talked about you had like you put traditional where it is because it's like the beginning of a phase of your caching. Yeah. You're going to start seeing a very interesting trend of my top 5. And you'll see why. But number 5 for me, really, I think Fort Worth changed my view of Adventure Labs. Fort Worth was incredible. I mean, the things we did was just amazing for us. Adventure Lab, the Fort Worth Noir ones were incredible. They're all the neon ones. You did some of those, I know.
Yeah, in the window.
Yeah, the one was the one where you had to use their information thing to do it. It was incredible. I mean, and there've been a lot of cool Adventure Labs, but even if you just talk about lab caches, really enjoyed you and I doing the ones in Tyler. We were walking along the street or walking along the sidewalk, and we're trying to figure out where we're supposed to be. And we saw some ladies, and they were doing the exact same thing. We're like, geocachers, we know it. They're doing the lab cache. We knew they were because we were doing. And they were looking on the ground like we were, and so we kind of teamed together with them to get the answer done for that one. And doing the ones when we did the ones at Moga together, we did it with Joshua and Geoderic, and we had we had a whole group, and we walked around Manhattan, Kansas doing we drove up to the cliff there, and actually we found a benchmark that was there as well, but that was part of the lab caches. So I've just had such great experience with others. The app is so much better now than what we had to do back in the day. that I can't tell you how excited I am to see more. And there are more and more adventure labs coming out. I know some people haven't done them as many yet, but yeah, GeoVet was agreed with me. The adventure labs were awesome so far. Big thumbs up to adventure labs. There's so many to do now.
I don't disagree with anything you're saying about them. I did rank them a little higher than you did, but not much. So
okay. So all right. So we're going on to number 4. Is that where we're headed? We're headed to 4 for me.
Yeah, number 4 for you.
All right.
Number 4.
Number 4 on my list is challenge caches, and which is interesting. And you're like, what? Gary putting challenge caches that high? You're shocked. I know you're. I'm shocked.
I would have been in the past, but I'm not now.
Right. Like Casablanca, where he's like, I'm shocked to find gambling going on. You're winning, sir. Oh, thank you. So it's sort of that same kind of deal. People are shocked to hear that I put challenge caches that high. I tell you a couple things. One is obviously doing the counties. Mm-hmm. Doing the county cache challenge has been truly such a great, fun thing to do.
Well, motivator for you, right?
Yeah, and just it really has been a great time. I think I know Susan's enjoyed it, getting out and finding flowers to take pictures of. She's really good at that, and seeing parts of the country, because Texas is like a country. It's a lot of driving, a lot of windshield time, but we've really enjoyed it. Challenge caches. Cache lines like challenge caches aren't a cache type.
They are.
Hey, they are to us.
This is for discussion purposes.
And it's our list. So you go make a vlog about your own list there, buddy.
And here's what I would ask you is, because I'm surprised they're not even ranked higher for you, and here's why.
Okay.
Has any one cache other than the Texas Challenge motivated you for so long to do so much?
Well, my number 1, for sure. We'll get into that here in a little bit. But
any single cache?
Any single cache? No.
This much effort for any other single cache?
No, and that's true. I mean, there's the Texas Challenge. Julie D brings it up. It is difficult. It is something that has really been just like you said. No, it really is. But I got a method to my madness, and I'll explain why.
I got you.
It's not 3, 2, or 1.
For him, I did kind of write a book on him, so I have to advocate for him a little bit.
Number 4. And my last thing I want to mention about challenge caches is, with Project GC, I think that really makes it for me. It bumps it even into my top 4 in that Project GC. I mean, I've found challenge caches. Well, we found that one. I think I told you about that. It's like I didn't know that I qualified for that. I mean, I was looking at, and it was and I thought it was kind of a cool idea. So that's sort of backing into we kind of backed into some. So we weren't planning like Texas Challenge. You got to plan to do that. Yeah. The one that we did that. I mean, it was like a bonus. Was like, oh, cool! I can go find this cache. And that was the one where you had to have found 5. You had to find caches in 5 state capital counties. So, Wyoming. I think ours was. I shouldn't have said that because now people are like, "What were the 5?" Like Texas, Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Mississippi, Wyoming, and Denver. I think was I think there was 5, but we backed into that challenge. But again, it was fun because it's like, let's go find that one. And so anyway, I think it's a combination of the two of those things. So all right, you're number 4.
I will say my number 4, but I'm still gonna have to say that you've been most excited about challenges out of all of them. So I'm just gonna, I know you have your own theory here, but everybody can probably tell that you are the most excited to talk about type out of any of them so far. But I'll move on.
I'm looking at 13 years. I've been caching for 13 years, so I'm looking at the overall 13 years. So,
Okay.
all right.
Number 4 for me was Adventure Labs.
Okay.
And same exact reason you said before, except for my top 3 are locked in. So Adventure Labs was pretty high.
Right.
And so this one was a conflict for me. But the way I look, because it doesn't have to be finding anything, right? But I was including both lab caches and Adventure Labs all in the same thing. So I like the new Adventure Labs that, they're putting out, the temporary ones or whatever, and the ones that they're putting out as the adventures that they're putting for people. But I'm also including lab caches in this, which the ones from previous, which this is all kind of melding into together, that they had at Megas. And some of those are really, really creative. And they can be so creative, and there's something physically there. Like the ones where you just answer a question, there's no story along the lines, those are not really interesting to me.
Right, sure.
But the ones where you go and play Plinko, or you go and do these other really cool things at an event, and I'm mainly talking about the ones at the events, or ones that are set up really special in Adventure Lab that's a linear story, where you have to go do all 10 in a row, and I don't know if those are temporary or permanent yet, those ones that they put out there.
Right.
The idea of a temporary thing that you can go and set up something that you couldn't do permanently, like gathering people together or doing Plinko or, whatever it is. We had one that we did that was rock climbing. You climbed the rock climbing wall and you got to the top of it. There was another one that was like a radio station that was playing, and if you turned on the radio, you could hear it.
Yeah.
You couldn't do that as effectively all the time. Most of the time you could. But that's the aspect that I ranked that so high, including all that lab cache and Adventure Labs. Because otherwise, it would go against my philosophy, which is you got to find something.
Yeah.
So I'm including the ones where you actually are doing something on site. That's why I rank those so high, but just kind of like you did. But
yeah, you had a pretty that's kind of out of your norm to put it that high.
It is, and again, I'm really overvaluing maybe the ones that the older ones where you had to do something on site, but it's only temporary.
Sure.
I just think they were super neat, and you have to interact with something. That's fun. So we'll see if that stays in the future. If they go away from that, that'll drop in my list. For right now, I still remember those pretty freshly. So
all right, makes sense. All right, we moving on to the next ones.
Number 3.
Number 3.
Number 3. What's your number 3?
So number 3, and there is a theme for this too, and I think yours is going to be similar, right? But number 3 is events for me. And that's because I absolutely love going to events. So I will say that number 1, 2, and 3 are very close for me.
Yeah.
All 3 of those are going to be super close now, but the events are great, and events are what really got us into and kept us into geocaching.
Yeah.
Because we have such a huge active group here.
Yeah.
And I love the social aspect. They're really good. I mean, you can do really cool things with them. The only bad thing that doesn't put them up at like number 1 or 2 for me.
I wonder.
Is they're locked in. The difficulty is locked in. And I understand why, but I also disagree with it. And that's for another show, I know, because we've had this discussion before, but that's frustrating. I get why they're doing it.
Yeah.
It also frustrates me that they lock in those events. So that's weird. But I love the events. I do them weekly. I do them monthly. I do, all over the place. We do CETOs. We're including, because in this category, I'm including megas and everything, right? And you and I both love going to the megas.
Yeah.
Meet all the people with all over the world. And it's hard to argue with events. They're so good. They're very close. That's my number 3, but it's very close to number 1 and number 2.
Yeah, this is something I've never, and I'm sure you've attempted. Well, I'm sure people have attempted or have done, which is terrain. I guess you could do literally a D1 T5 or D.
Absolutely.
No D has an event T5 where like you have to like have a little kayak party out in the middle of the lake kind of thing. Is that?
Yeah, and mountains up here, they do them. They have higher ones because they'll do events here that the GZ is at the top of a 14er.
Okay.
Or out in the middle of the lake or whatever else. We did one event at midnight in the middle of a frozen lake.
Right.
So T5,
I can see that.
You do whatever you got to do.
But remember, you and I had figured out how to do a D5 T5 where you had to solve a riddle to get the gate to open.
And they won't go with viewers about it. They will not go for it.
It was such a great idea because you had to solve the puzzle, and you could work as a team too. But you had to solve a puzzle, and that was to get the lock to get the gate open to get to the event. So that was fun.
Really hard, and that won't work. But so anyway, number 3 for me, which is close in these top last ones. Number 3 is events.
All right, my number 3, and this is a weird one because again, this kind of fits maybe into your while you're Adventure Labs. This is where they are, but mine is webcam. My number 3 is webcam, and I'll tell you why. There's a couple reasons. One is that it is about to be gone.
Yeah,
I mean, the rarity of it. I don't think people realize that we're going to get to a point where, and this may happen because this is what happened to the locationless caches. Is when it got to a certain point, they just archived the rest. They said, that's good enough. We'll archive them. And they archived the last handful of. I mean, so there's no telling on webcam what the critical. I mean, I'm sure they've thought about it, but there may be a critical point when they get to say 50 webcams and they go, we're done. Boop, they're gone. They archive them. So, but to me, webcams hold to me a lot of good memories. Trying to get to a webcam, we talked about with Susan and I, we laughed and had such a great time trying to get to that silly Wyoming one. I don't know if you were,
I've
done that one at the airport, but they made it tricky because it nowadays they kind of refresh all the time, which I think kind of takes away a little bit of the fun.
Yeah.
But we would stand there, we're like, all right, we're just standing there going, I hope it catches us, and we're look at our phone and like, oh no, we're off. It's because you're trying to figure out exactly where to stand because the way the Cheyenne, I'm talking about the Cheyenne, Wyoming webcam, by the way.
Yeah,
you got to stand by the fence so that so you get captured in the picture and all that. But there's some really cool. Like we had fun when we did our 12, cache icons in a day with our little group that we did it. Was great fun standing and looking like an idiot, waving. People walking by going, what the heck are they doing? We're waving. It's like, yes, it got our picture, and helping people do theirs has been such great fun. People call me and go, back in the day, nowadays it's much easier, but
good with the phone now, yeah.
But I've had people call me and go, can you get on the web and can you look for me, and usually I go, nope, don't see you. Oh, I see him, but I'm like, nope. You need to kind of jump up and down or, wave your arms. And they're like, I'm waving as hard as, I'm going crazy over here. Like, yeah, I saw you before. I just wanted to watch you wave your arms and scream and holler. But they can be so much fun. They can be unique.
I think they're generous because they're so rare.
Yeah. And I had a lot of fun when I did the book, finding different ones. The one in Niagara Falls is really cool. A lot of people need to do that one. That's a really cool one where, you could you get your picture taken and it can be part of, you kind of have the background with it. And anyway, to me, it brings back so many great memories and so many social interaction with other cachers, and that obviously people have figured out is sort of a lot of my things.
To me, out of the 105 that are left in the U.S. that are enabled, I bet you 25% of them are people just taking selfies.
Yeah, unfortunately.
They're not great for me, but I can't disagree with the social part of it, of course. Absolutely. So
Yeah, if you do it with a group, it adds a lot. If you do it by yourself, you can do it by yourself, obviously, and those can be fun too. But it's just fun doing as a group. So, all right, we on to number 2, right?
Yep, number 2.
Number 2.
Number 2. What's your number 2, Jesse?
I think it's your turn, isn't it?
Oh, my turn to do number 2? Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
Number 2.
Thing down. So, all right, my number 2 is traditional. And part of that is because, again, as I mentioned, I've been geocaching for 13 years. The traditional cache holds so many great memories for me. It is the stalwart. It is the backbone of geocaching. It is the, probably, 99% of the caches that I think about when I think about great geocaches that I've just enjoyed over time have been traditional, down the road, cool. I mean, they some of them are really cool. A lot of them are, but it's the
you again. So
what's that?
Julie busted you again. So she just
did
your whole argument.
Oh, my only 10. They're only 10 points. Yeah, I don't like Julie. You should know by now. I just don't care about the points, but I'm glad everybody else does. I'm here for everybody else.
What you're saying, though, I mean, you're thinking of the traditional as geocaching.
Yeah, and Tom gave a point. It's the 5-gallon bucket that started the whole thing. That is the traditional.
It is.
Just, and we could go on. We're not going to do it tonight, but we could go on and on about you could too. All the different
negative about a traditional at all.
You can't.
And I don't have anything negative to say about that either. I mean, traditional is geocaching. That's what most of us, not all of us.
But I understand why you did the way you.
But most of us start with traditionals. So
yeah, most everybody starts with traditional. But almost all of the original, or how to put it, the oldest cache in the oldest cache in a state, not completely, but many of them are traditional. That's interesting. I should go back and look. How many of the 50 states? How many of them are not a traditional cache?
All of them originally were.
Right. They had to be.
Like your state, the oldest one is a multi.
It is, which is unique. The fact that it's one of the oldest multis in the world, but yeah, it's the ammo can in the woods. I mean, it's the great, So, all right, what's your number 2?
Not surprisingly, number 2 for me is challenge cache, and it's almost right there with number 1. But I love challenges. That's no secret to anybody. They inspire more people to do more than any other cache type. And I know they're technically a whole type, but they're a subtype of caches or whatever. And even not being their own type, they're a subtype, and they still inspire people to go and get all 50 states like we had on last week. 254 counties like you're doing, or getting the oldest caches in every state, or getting Jasmer. Challenges really inspire people and shape the way their caching can be in a good way. And to me, they're just tons of fun. I love it. They really, for us, they find their way. And I got to keep this one short because I could literally talk a whole book about it. Right?
Yeah. Once you wrote a book about it,
they can.
Oh, wait, you did.
For us, it was a way to rid our whole family and find something exciting for a whole family to do, because we could combine and find a challenge that all of us could do an aspect of it and really have fun. So I just think it's one of the most it's the most inspiring type. So it's hard for me to argue with challenge cache being it's so far up there for me. I mean, we're always working on multiple challenges, and I know tons of people the same way. There's always working on something, and it's fun like that. I've driven so many hours out of the way to do something for a challenge cache that I couldn't even imagine doing if we didn't do this game, right? So that one is almost unbeatable, challenge caches.
And many people forget Fizzy. That's a challenge. I mean, that's then there's caches A lot of people forget that, you can find people who have created, caches that only you can, you can sign them, but only you can actually physically complete the logging of some of these caches, because you need to complete certain things. Fizzy, Jasmer,
Yeah.
there's
calendar. I mean, everything.
There's so many things. Yeah. The calendar.
Almost limitless what you can do.
Yeah. It's almost like, there was talking, Henry Ford said that, the first car race was after the second car was made. I mean, it's kind of the same thing as like, right after geocaching, sort of started, after you did, put out 2 or 3 of them, I'm sure somebody thought about, hey, let's go get all 3, whatever. You get the idea. But the idea, I completely agree. I can see how
inspiring
challenges, and they've been both, they've been, they're very high on both our lists, obviously.
Absolutely. I mean, when you're getting to the top of this, they're getting so close now.
Yep. So, it's over to you, right, for the last one, and then
I'll give you my last one. I mean,
did I do my number 2? Yeah, I did number 2. So, all right, we're gonna do our number 1. So here we go.
Number 1.
You like the way it's very dramatic.
I love the drama. Except everybody already knows what we're picking because we only have one left to pick.
Number 1.
These are puzzle people. Figured this out, right?
They might have lost track, but that's okay.
So number 1 for me is absolutely Where I Go. And
wait, let me mute you. That's not. No, I'm kidding. Keep going.
So so you mentioned Where I Go way earlier. When you were up and embarrassing yourself. So, but I have to tell you that the things that you said are correct. Sometimes they mess up, just like every other cache.
Yeah.
They're harder to program, although we are working on helping people.
You get a lot of negative reactions over here,
right? So they are hard to program, although we're working on that. But here's the good thing with the Where I Go, and here's what I would say for my whole theme, right?
Right.
Bottom 3 for me, those are all ones where you're not finding anything.
Yeah.
To me, those are bottom 3 because they're just different from the style of geocaching I like. I found them all. One of my favorite experiences ever was at a virtual. So I find them all and I like them all. So the next one's building up were ones that have the most possibility. So traditional, and then every layer that you add goes higher up for me.
Sure.
The most potential, not that everybody uses it, but the most potential for a cache type. So for Where I Goes, what I would say is if you go up traditional, obviously you can duplicate that with a Where I Go. Multi-cache, again, you can duplicate that with a Where I Go. And all those ones where you're not finding things like virtual and earth cache, you can duplicate all those things with a Where I Go as well. Letterbox, you can put a stamp in there. That's all most people do anyway, right? And challenge caches, those are different. That's a subtype. But every other type, a Where I Go can do what every other type can do. However, none of the other types can really add in sound and pictures and set a timer and make an actual night cache that people can't find during the daytime because it doesn't work during the daytime. Throw in QR codes very easily. Even after they're published and they've been going for a while, you can add updates to them because it's a computer program. You can edit them online. You can fix them like that. You can personalize the experience, especially think about kids. In a Where I Go, you can use the user's name. You program that in and it calls them by their name every time. You can also make them where they're completely audible. So it's a voice thing the whole time. So the reason why Where I Go, and we've all talked about my story with Where I Goes before. They were so hard is why I got into them because nobody could do it. I'm like, well, I can't accept that. So I got into them and now I can do them all. But the possibilities that they have that nothing else can do is why I like them so much. I understand that the application is not usually there. And it's not usually with most of them, right? Your standard cache is a lamppost or a bush with everything.
Sure.
But Where I Go have more potential. You can set up zones, play games. Think of the battleship ones or the ones where you had to figure out how to carry the sheep across and the wolf, that riddle. You can set it up in real life with Where I Goes, and you can't do that with any others. Even knowing that they're hard to program, but we have enough of a community that you can do that that you can get people to help you program those. And so kind of going up my scale was going up the social scale as well.
Right.
The very last Where I Go I put out, well, not the 9 that I put out today, but the one before that.
9.
The one before that, it was combining 2 or 3 cache types.
Yeah.
It was a mob cache inside the Where I Go. So you had to have 5 people do the Where I Go. So Where I Go is unlike one of the other ones. You can also make it do with a lot of people because you can keep, requiring codes that takes multiple people. So you can basically make an event on wheels with it.
Yeah.
But for me, that's why Where I Go ranks so high. Even though it's hard to do and there's bad applications out there, it's such a widespread application of what you can do with it. There's a lot of fun potential there. And it still can be a really neat. That final was a 3D printed TARDIS puzzle at the end. So you can still make them gadget caches at the end too. It doesn't take any of that away.
Yeah, the physical at the end, you don't have to bail on it and make it bad. You can do a good final.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think, and we've talked about this before, and I think people need to realize that there are some good apps. I think the Your We Go, how do you pronounce that? Is that good enough?
For building them.
I think that's the best builder.
Super easy.
You're going to do a class at Going Caching. Is that correct?
I am. I'm going to do one of the breakout sessions at Going Caching, and we're going to program a few for people to go away with, but we're also going to talk about the possibilities of them, because it's not just reverse Where I Goes. It's not just play anywhere.
Right.
Really neat advanced stuff that you can do with them.
Sure.
I don't think people realize there's timers in them and random function, all kinds of other stuff that I don't think people really realize that you can do.
Yeah, I mean, Owen's mentioned that the creator interface. I think if you use the Your We Go, I like that one. I like as far as building.
And he's right. The creator interface does suck. They should admit that. It is terrible, which is why I got into it in the first place, because it is so terrible, and I'm not going to let that stop me. So, and
I think we'll have a lot of fun. I think we still want to do a show where we do we have everybody make one.
Yeah, and we're going to do that. We put that
get the right timing.
Now,
yeah, but yeah. So all right. So my number 1, as we start to wrap up tonight, because we're going kind of late. My number 1 is events, and it kind of again get back to your events was pretty high on the list.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the whole social nature of the fact that, getting together. I so look forward to events, especially, megas, getting to see everybody, getting to hang out, going and doing adventure labs together, or doing
whatever.
Yeah. Doing all these various cache types really is why I really love events. I mean, so many of my funnest time geocaching has been being with other people and going out and, or like when you come down for events, we go out and cache together. And that's always been, with you and Christy, there's never, you really can't have a bad time, in my opinion, going to an event, because, hopefully, I know some people are not as comfortable going to events, but I always tell people, go to an event and, just kind of hang out with some people. And I guarantee you many people have gotten invited to, like, hey, come on with us. We're going to go do this adventure lab. Why don't you come along with us?
And you can't beat that.
What's that?
You cannot beat that. When we talked about this ahead of time, I almost had events number 1 with you. The only reason I couldn't is, and 1, 2, and 3 were tied for me almost, really.
Yeah.
I had to events lower just because when I think of caching, it's finding something.
Sure.
That's just my personal hang up. So events are right there. I can't argue with that at all. The best times we've had have been during events too.
Yeah, is to do that. Somebody mentioned about mob caches, that they're not a big fan of mob caches, but flash mobs. Kirsty mentioned about flash mobs. Yeah, that's not an event I've ever I've only been to one of those. We did a, and again, we're kind of running late, but let me mention that I went to a really cool flash mob, which was we did a, this was for Pie Day, and we did frozen pie where and somebody filmed it. It was kind of fun, but at the very moment that we hit the right time for pie, we were all standing like frozen, and somebody took a picture of us all standing there, like not moving. And that was the only flash mob I thought was a lot of fun. But anyway, well, there you go. There's our top 12 for this round. I'm sure next time we'll add some kind of twist to it. Yeah, Tom mentions he's been some cool flash mobs, and
and all of the things we talked about tonight, there are some very good examples and very bad examples of all those types.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What we've encountered, and if anybody just totally thinks we're whacked out or has a totally different opinion on all these, feel free to send them in. You know what? We'll maybe even read a couple next week if people will send them in and they're ranking these 12. You don't get to cheat and put Gadget Cache in there because we know that.
Yeah, we left that out this particular time.
Yeah.
We had time to do 25 cache types because we had probably 25 cache types we could do.
Gosh, yeah. You know, there's some other things that if we really broke it down, we'd be having a discussion for 4 hours.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. This show's long enough this week, so
right.
Yeah, definitely send us an email, geocachetalk@gmail.com. Let us know what you thought. It was fun.
If you agree with me, then we definitely want to hear about it.
Yep. All right, so next week we're going to have Joni Pitry's going to be on. She's going to talk about GeoCoin Fest, and also a lot of people don't understand, or maybe they're not up on the HOMA Geo Tour number 1 and number 2. There's 2 different Geo Tours actually in HOMA, so it's worth checking out. She's going to give us the lowdown on not just the Coin Fest. There's a whole series of side events that look really cool, and so we're going to talk about sort of the whole. Gosh, you could spend a week. Hopefully, you'll spend a week in Louisiana before going caching. You could go do the Coin Fest. And we're going to talk about that. We'll talk about all the different side events. And in 2 weeks, we made a little change for the show. We're going to have Joshua, the geocaching vlogger, on the show in 2 weeks. We're going to talk about Brazil. We're going to talk about the ape cache that he went to, and also beyond. He did some other things after that. So Joshua will be with us in 2 weeks to talk about that incredible trip and how you can get to Project Ape in Brazil. It's not as difficult as it might sound, other than obviously paying some money to get there, but it's all kind of set up. And we'll kind of talk about how it is really set up to help geocachers get to Project Ape. And then in 3 weeks, we're going to talk about puzzle caches. Electric Water Boy is going to be on the show, and we're going to, as I call him, the puzzler, not the Riddler. He's the puzzler. And we're going to talk puzzles, and we're still kind of working out all the ins and outs of what we want to do for that show in 3 weeks, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun to talk through. I like puzzles more than I used to.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll still come on the show anymore.
Yeah, no, he'll be fine. Yeah. He'll be fine. Because we did kind of rank them different, but it gives him a chance to talk about. But no, it'll be fun. We're going to talk about puzzles. So, all right, let me get us wrapped up. Or do you want to make a final comment before I hit the button to do our outro?
Hear people's opinions on this one. And this was totally an opinion show, and our experience is based on it or whatever. And I just want to send a shout out to the chat room. There was so much information you can get to all. People were making a lot of good comments. We tried to put some of them up, but it was so fast tonight.
It was.
People really are kind of passionate about their favorite types and everything. So there was a lot of good opinions in there, and it wasn't just always, boo and yay and Christy picking on me. There was a lot of good thought out things in there.
There was.
So I want to thank everybody for that. That was fun trying to keep up with the chat room and
it was
crazy answers all night. So
we did. We had a great bunch tonight. All right, here we go.
Folks, we hope you've enjoyed the show tonight, as well as our new format. Please email us your comment at geocachetalk@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. The show can be found on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Radio Public, or Spotify, as well as at the Geocache Talk website. Don't forget to click that subscribe button below and ring that bell notification so that you can see and hear the show on a weekly basis. And tell your friends about the show. Get them involved with us in the chat room. And until next week, don't just talk about geocaching, go geocaching.
There we go. All right. Good night, everybody.
Everybody.
That was fun.